Rain hammered the streets of Seoul as black SUVs sliced through the empty roads like shadows. Inside the lead vehicle sat Kang Jun-ho, the billionaire whose name made powerful men lower their voices. To the public, he owned luxury hotels and investment firms. Behind closed doors, he commanded an underground empire he had spent years trying to leave behind. "Take the bridge," he ordered quietly. The convoy slowed. A faint cry pierced the storm. "Stop!" His bodyguards exchanged confused glances. Another cry. Not a cat, a baby. Junho stepped into the freezing rain. Near the riverbank, beneath a collapsed cardboard shelter, lay a tiny black infant wrapped in a threadbare pink blanket. Her tiny hands trembled as rain soaked her face. "Who would leave a child here?" one guard whispered. Junho knelt without answering. The baby opened her eyes. For reasons he couldn't explain, she wasn't crying anymore. She simply stared at him. Calm, almost as if she recognized him. Then his phone rang. "Boss," his security chief shouted. "Snipers!" A gunshot shattered the silence. The bullet struck the concrete exactly where Junho had been standing a heartbeat earlier. If he hadn't stopped for the baby, he would already be dead. "Protect the boss!" The bodyguards returned fire, forcing the hidden attackers to retreat into the darkness. Tires screeched as the convoy sped away from the bridge, but Junho refused to leave. "The baby," he said. A guard wrapped the shivering infant in his own jacket and placed her carefully in Junho's arms. She didn't cry. Instead, her tiny fingers curled around his thumb with surprising strength. For the first time in years, the man feared by an empire felt completely helpless. At the hospital, doctors confirmed she was only a few weeks old, malnourished, cold, but remarkably healthy. No records, no identification, the pediatrician sighed. Whoever abandoned her wanted her to disappear. Junho stared through the nursery window. Disappear. The word echoed painfully. He knew exactly what it meant to become invisible in a world ruled by power. His chief advisor approached cautiously. "Boss, your enemies already know you stopped tonight. If they discover you're protecting this child, they'll use her against you." Junho remained silent. The baby suddenly opened her eyes and looked straight at him, as though she understood every word. He exhaled slowly. "Prepare the penthouse nursery," he said. His advisor blinked in disbelief. "Sir, are you adopting her?" Junho never looked away from the little girl. "No." A faint smile touched his lips. "I'm keeping a promise. I didn't know I was waiting to make." The penthouse overlooking the Han River had never echoed with laughter. It had only known silence, strategy, and secrets. 3 months later, that silence was gone. Tiny giggles drifted through rooms once reserved for billion-dollar negotiations. Expensive Italian suits now shared space with stuffed animals, baby bottles, and colorful blankets. The household staff couldn't believe the transformation. The feared Kang Junho, the man whose expression rarely changed, now canceled meetings because she refused to sleep unless he held her. "You've spoiled her," his elderly housekeeper teased. Junho almost smiled. "I don't mind." He named her Zuri, a name meaning beautiful, because after everything she had survived, she deserved to be known for something other than being abandoned. But not everyone welcomed the change. Across the city, a rival syndicate watched through hidden cameras as Junho carried Zuri through the penthouse garden. "So, the great Kang Junho has finally found a weakness," the rival leader murmured. A cold smile spread across his face. "Break the child." His lieutenant hesitated. "And you'll break the man." Unaware of the danger closing in, Junho lifted Zuri into the evening sunlight. She laughed, reaching toward the sky. For the first time in years, he believed peace was possible. And that was exactly when fate decided to test how much he was willing to lose. The attack came without warning. Junho's convoy had barely left the Foundation's annual charity gala when 3 black SUVs blocked the road. Armed men poured into the street, weapons raised. "Take Miss Zuri," one shouted. Junho's bodyguards formed a shield around the armored vehicle carrying the little girl. Inside, Zuri clutched the stuffed rabbit Junho had given her. Outside, bullets shattered glass and sent luxury cars spinning across the pavement. "Boss!" his security chief yelled. "We can escape through the east tunnel, but only if we leave the decoy vehicle behind." The decoy carried innocent staff members. Junho didn't hesitate. "No." The chief stared in disbelief. "If we don't leave them, we'll lose millions. Maybe everything." Junho's eyes hardened. "I built this empire." He chambered around. then looked toward the vehicle where Zuri sat safely strapped into her seat. But I won't build my future on innocent lives. He ordered every guard to protect all the vehicles, not just his own. The decision gave the attackers time to surround them. His rivals escaped empty-handed, but by sunrise, half of Junho's overseas businesses had been seized through coordinated sabotage. He had protected strangers. He had protected Zuri. But for the first time in his life, the billionaire king realized his empire could bleed. 6 years passed. The little girl once abandoned beneath a bridge now filled Junho's mansion with music, laughter, and endless questions. Zuri had grown into a bright, compassionate child whose smile softened even the hardest faces. But one rainy afternoon, the peace they had built shattered. "Sir," his chief of security said, entering the library with unusual urgency, "a woman is asking for you." Junho barely looked up. "Who is she?" "She claims she's Zuri's biological mother." Silence swallowed the room. Moments later, a tall woman stepped inside. Her eyes immediately found Zuri, who sat quietly drawing by the fireplace. Tears streamed down the stranger's face. "I've searched for her for 6 years," she whispered. "The people who trafficked children took my daughter. I escaped, but I couldn't find her until now." Junho studied every trembling word, every broken breath. She wasn't asking for money. She wasn't demanding anything. She was simply a mother staring at the child she had mourned every single day. Before anyone could speak, Zuri looked from the stranger to Junho. "Daddy," her tiny voice cracked. "Is she telling the truth?" For the first time since finding her beneath that bridge, Junho had no idea how to answer. Junho dismissed everyone except the woman. "Tell me everything." Her name was Amina Okoye. 6 years earlier, she had come to Seoul on a nursing scholarship. One night, while returning from work, she and her infant daughter were abducted by a trafficking ring that sold children across borders. Amina escaped days later, but her baby was gone. "I searched every orphanage, every police station," she said, tears staining her cheeks. "No one believed me." She reached into her worn handbag and carefully unfolded a faded photograph. It showed a younger Amina holding a newborn wrapped in the same pink blanket Junho had found beneath the bridge. His heart sank. It was undeniable. Before he could speak, Zuri quietly walked over. "Are you really my mommy?" Amina dropped to her knees. "I never stopped being your mother." Zuri looked back at Junho, her small face caught between hope and fear. "If she's my mommy?" She swallowed hard. "Does that mean I have to leave you?" The question pierced him deeper than any bullet ever had. Junho knelt, gently taking her hand. "No, sweetheart." His voice was steady, even as his heart broke. "No one is taking you away." But outside the mansion gates, a black sedan watched in silence. Someone else had found Amina first. The black sedan waited until midnight. Then it struck. Masked men stormed Amina's temporary apartment, but she had already left under Junho's protection. Frustrated, the attackers intercepted his convoy instead, forcing it onto an abandoned mountain road. Their leader stepped forward with a chilling smile. "You should have stayed the ruthless man you once were, Kang Junho." Gunfire erupted. Junho pushed Amina behind the armored SUV as his guards fought desperately. In the chaos, he spotted a sniper taking position high above. There wasn't enough time. The rifle fired. Junho turned instinctively, preparing for the impact. But it never came. "Daddy?" Little Zuri had broken free from the vehicle, running toward him with her stuffed rabbit. Her sudden movement caused Junho to lunge after her, pulling both of them to the ground. The sniper's bullet sliced through the air where Junho's heart had been only a second earlier. The shot missed, not because of luck, because one fearless little girl had made him move. The sniper cursed as security teams closed in, forcing the attackers to flee into the darkness. Holding the trembling child tightly, Junho finally understood the truth. The night he found Zuri, she had unknowingly saved his life. Tonight, she had done it again. 3 months later, the empire Kang Junho had inherited no longer existed. He had dismantled every criminal operation under his control, turning his fortune toward hospitals, orphan protection programs, and anti-trafficking foundations. The men who once feared him now respected the man he had chosen to become. The trafficking network responsible for tearing Amina and Zuri apart was finally dismantled. Its leaders faced justice, and dozens of missing children were reunited with their families. On a quiet spring afternoon, the three of them stood beneath cherry blossoms overlooking the Han River, the same river where fate had first brought them together. Amina reached for Junho's hand. You didn't just save my daughter, she whispered. You gave both of us a future. Junho smiled, something that once seemed impossible. No. He looked down as Zuri slipped her tiny hands into both of theirs. She saved me, Zuri giggled. So, does this mean we're a real family now? Junho knelt, his eyes glistening. We became a family the night you chose to hold my hand. As petals drifted through the warm breeze, he realized true strength had never come from power, fear, or wealth. It had come from the smallest hand that refused to let his go. Sometimes the greatest heroes arrive wrapped in the smallest blankets. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more unforgettable Afro-Korean romance dramas. Tell us in the comments, what was your favorite moment, and what would you have done if you were Junho? Your support helps us bring more heartfelt stories of love, family, redemption, and second chances to life. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.